All right, so are you ready to dive into something a little different today?
Always up for a challenge.
Okay, good. Because we're taking a look at the Boron Letters.
Oh, yeah, this one's interesting.
It is. It's not your typical marketing book, though, is it?
Not at all. I mean,
Well,
these are letters written by Gary Halbert to his son while he was in prison.
federal prison, to be exact.
Right, federal prison.
Okay.
Which, kind of adds another layer to the whole thing.
Definitely. Not the usual setting for marketing advice.
No, but that's what makes it so fascinating, I think.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
So who exactly was Gary Halbert, for those who might not know?
Well, he was a legendary copywriter, known for his really direct, no BS style.
And his ability to make millions of dollars in sales.
Exactly. He knew how to connect with people and sell just about anything.
So these letters to his son, they're almost like a crash course in marketing and life lessons.
Yeah, it's like he poured everything he knew into them,
Yeah.
knowing that his son would be getting out into the world soon.
And needing every advantage he could get.
Exactly. So what really struck you when you first read the letters?
I think the thing that jumped out at me the most was how much he emphasized physical health.
Oh, yeah, that was huge for him.
Yeah.
He always stressed the importance of starting the day with a jog.
Yeah, but it wasn't just about physical fitness, was it?
No, he was connecting it to mindset.
Mm.
He believed that when you get your body moving, you release all these feel-good chemicals.
Endorphins and all that.
Right, which not only boost your mood, but also prime your brain for focus.
So it's like exercise is a way to set yourself up for success in all areas of life.
Exactly. And this idea of setting yourself up for success, it comes up again and again in the letters.
In what way?
Where he talks about how important it is to try things twice before giving up.
Like that story about his son struggling to bike up a steep hill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The kid almost gave up on the first try, but on the second attempt, he conquered it.
It's like that first try is all about gathering information and building the grit to push through.
Absolutely. And that applies to so much more than just physical challenges.
Mm.
It could be a new skill you're learning, or a tough project at work, or even a difficult conversation you need to have.
It's about not giving up easily.
Right. And using that first attempt to learn and adapt.
So Gary's really setting the stage for a don't give up easily mentality right from the start.
Absolutely. Which is so important for success in any field.
Definitely. So what else stood out to you in those early letters?
Well, Gary was a total maverick thinker. He didn't trust conventional wisdom and wasn't afraid to go against the grain.
Like that doctor he mentions who discovered the bacterial cause of ulcers.
Exactly. Everyone in the medical community thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
But he ended up revolutionizing ulcer treatment.
Because he wasn't afraid to be different.
And that independent thinking was key to his marketing success, too.
How so?
Well, he emphasized focusing on genuine market demand.
What people actually buy.
Right, not just what they say they want.
Which are often two very different things.
Absolutely. He tells this great story about a beer company that did a survey where everyone claimed to prefer their premium beer.
But then their sales figures told a different story.
Right. People were actually buying way more of the regular brew.
So it's like people want to think they have sophisticated tastes.
But their actual behavior reveals what they truly desire.
Which is what really matters in marketing.
Exactly. You need to understand what people genuinely want, what they're actually willing to put their money behind.
So if you're thinking about your own work, you need to think about what your audience is actually responding to.
Not just what they say they want. Look at the data. Look at their actions.
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in what you think people want.
It is. And Gary had a great example to illustrate this point. Remember the National Enquirer?
Oh, yeah. The supermarket tabloid everyone claimed to hate.
But it was the highest selling newspaper around.
So much for stated preferences.
Right. It's all about observing actual behavior.
So we're starting to see how Gary's maverick thinking and his focus on real-world behavior inform his approach to marketing.
Absolutely. And then he starts to get into the nitty-gritty of marketing tactics.
Like what?
He emphasizes the importance of being a student of markets, constantly researching and understanding what people are buying.
So you always need to be learning and adapting.
Exactly. And he even recommended a specific tool called the SRDS book.
What's that?
It was basically a directory for direct mail marketers. It listed publications and their readership so you could figure out where to place your ads.
So even back then, it was all about finding the right audience for your message.
Absolutely. And he had this fascinating concept about how to get people to actually open your mail.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so think about it. When you get your mail, what do you open first?
Probably personal letters. Things that feel like they're from someone I know.
Right. That's what Gary called the A pile.
Okay, what about the stuff that looks like obvious marketing material?
That's the B pile.
Mm.
And let's be honest, those often end up in the trash unopened.
Yeah, probably. So Gary was saying that to be successful in direct mail, you had to find a way to get into that A pile.
Exactly. And you know what this principle applies even today? Think about your inbox.
Are you more likely to open a personalized email or a generic marketing blast?
Exactly. It's all about making your message feel personal and relevant.
So Gary understood that by making his mail look personal, he was tapping into our natural curiosity.
And our desire for connection. And he even had some creative attention-grabbing techniques to make his mail stand out.
Like what?
Give me an
Well,
example.
there's this fantastic story about a real estate letter he sent out with a small bag of dirt attached to it.
Dirt. Seriously, what was he thinking?
It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah,
But the letter was about investing in land, so the dirt was relevant.
I guess that makes sense.
Plus, it created intrigue. People couldn't resist opening the letter to find out what was inside.
So it worked.
It did. It's
Yeah.
all about grabbing attention and making your message stand out.
Which is still crucial today, no matter what platform you're using.
Absolutely. And Gary had another powerful strategy for making his marketing more effective: customization.
What do you mean?
He believed in tailoring your message to the specific recipient whenever possible. So he was already thinking about personalization way back then.
Oh, yeah. He'd customize his real estate investment letters based on location. An LA version, a Detroit version, even a Key West version.
Wow. So he was really thinking about speaking directly to the recipient's interests and needs.
Exactly. And that's even more relevant today with digital marketing.
Yeah.
Think about how online ads and emails can be tailored to your demographics.
Your browsing history, your interests. It's all about creating a personalized experience.
And that personalized touch can significantly increase engagement and conversion rates.
So we've gone from the importance of physical health and a try-twice mentality to challenging conventional wisdom.
And understanding real market demand.
Then we dug into the tactics of grabbing attention and customizing your message.
It's amazing how much ground Gary covered in just a few letters.
It is, and we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to unpack as we delve deeper into the Boron Letters.
Well, let's take a break and come back to that.
Sounds good?
Okay, so we've seen how Gary approaches marketing from this totally unique perspective.
Yeah, he's all about challenging conventions and really getting human psychology.
Right, and focusing on what actually drives behavior, not just what people say they do.
Exactly. So it's about more than just writing clever copy.
It's about understanding the deeper motivations behind why people buy things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the actual craft of writing persuasive sales letters.
Did he have any specific strategies for that?
Oh, he definitely did.
Yeah.
And one of his key principles was to make sales letters feel really personal.
Almost like a friend is sharing a secret with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember that example we talked about earlier? The letter addressed to Bond, specifically? Like it was targeted just to 16-year-olds?
Yeah, it felt so direct and personal, like he was speaking right to me.
Exactly. And that's the power of personalization. It grabs attention and makes the reader feel like the message is tailored just for them.
So how did he achieve that sense of personalization?
Well, he had some clever formatting tricks. Like he would often include the date and even the exact time he was writing.
Like mimicking the style of a telegram.
Exactly. It created a sense of immediacy and authenticity. The reader feels like they're receiving a real-time communication.
Not just a generic mass-mailed piece.
Right. It's like getting a letter from a friend.
And he'd also add those little handwritten directives like over or go to page 7 at the bottom of each page.
Oh, yeah, those were great. It's like he's guiding the reader's hand, leading them through the letter step by step.
Keeping them engaged and making sure they don't miss anything important.
Exactly. It's all about creating a smooth flow of information.
So it's not just about the words themselves, it's about how you present them.
Right, how you create an overall feeling or experience for the reader.
And speaking of captivating experiences, Gary was a master storyteller.
He definitely knew how to draw readers in with vivid descriptions and intriguing anecdotes.
Like that description of the Hawaiian beach we talked about earlier.
Exactly. The feel of the sand, the scent of the salt air, the warmth of the sun.
You could practically feel yourself transported to that beach just by reading his words.
That's the power of sensory details. It allows the reader to experience the message rather than just reading it.
But what's the marketing strategy behind that? I mean, it's a beautiful description, but how does it actually persuade people?
Well, Gary understood that people connect with stories and emotions.
More than just facts and figures.
Right. By making you feel something, he was much more likely to get you to act.
He was tapping into our desires, our aspirations, our longing for something more.
Exactly. So if you're thinking about your own work, ask yourself, How can you use storytelling and sensory details to make your message more compelling?
That's a great point. I think we often forget the power of emotions in marketing.
We do. We get so caught up in the logic and the data that we forget to connect with people on a human level.
And Gary wasn't afraid to get personal in his writing either.
He was very open about his own life, his experiences in prison, his personal challenges.
So he was using vulnerability as a marketing tool.
It might seem counterintuitive, but it's actually incredibly effective. By revealing glimpses of his own humanity, he creates a deeper connection with the reader.
It builds trust and authenticity.
Exactly. He's not just some faceless marketer. He's a real person sharing his experiences and insights.
Okay, I can see how that would make people more receptive to his message.
But it's important to strike a balance. He also stressed the importance of incorporating professional elements into his sales letters.
Like what?
Alongside handwritten elements, he'd include typeset copy photographs, order cards, brochures, things that conveyed stability and professionalism.
So it's about blending that personal touch with a sense of business credibility.
Exactly. It's about creating a well-rounded package that resonates with the reader on multiple levels.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about finding that sweet spot between authenticity and professionalism.
Right. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of Gary's approach, understanding human psychology.
In what way?
Well, he believed in appealing to people's deepest desires, their hopes, their fears, their aspirations.
We all have those.
We do. And he had this brilliant insight about how people often try to project an image of themselves.
An image that aligns with what they believe they should be.
Exactly. Like
Oh.
when people say they prefer documentaries over reality TV, but then you find out they binge watch The Real Housewives every night.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's like they want to appear sophisticated and cultured.
Even if their actual behavior contradicts those aspirations.
Yeah, so how did Gary use this insight in his marketing?
His takeaway was clear. To understand what people truly want, pay attention to how they spend their money.
Not just what they say.
Right? Observe their actions, analyze their purchasing patterns, and tailor your marketing messages accordingly.
So it's not about taking people's words at face value.
No, it's about digging deeper and understanding the motivations behind their behavior.
And he believed in becoming a student of markets.
Constantly researching and analyzing what people are buying, looking for what he called a hot market.
A group of people with a strong desire for a specific product or solution.
Exactly. And then crafting the perfect offer to meet that need.
So he was all about finding that intersection between what people want and what you can offer them.
Precisely. And he had a whole system for developing marketing campaigns. He'd start by scouring the SRDS book.
That directory for direct mail marketers we talked about earlier.
Right. He'd use it to identify promising lists of potential customers.
And then he'd brainstorm product ideas that aligned with their interests and needs.
He was very methodical in his approach.
Yeah.
He'd analyze successful direct mail pieces and space ads.
Extracting valuable insights about what worked and what didn't.
Exactly. And he even had this system where he'd partner with bankers.
Who would provide funding for his campaigns.
Right. They'd provide a small development fee to fund initial test mailings.
So it was a way to test the waters before investing heavily in a campaign.
Exactly. It allowed him to mitigate risk and see if there was a real demand for his product.
Before scaling up.
Right. And if the response was good, they'd pour more resources into the campaign to maximize profits.
It sounds like he was always looking for ways to be efficient and data-driven in his marketing.
He was, and he also had an incredible work ethic.
Even in prison.
Especially in prison.
Yep.
He often talked about the sheer volume of writing he did.
He had that amazing story about writing a sales letter for a family name research report.
That ended up generating over $7 million in sales.
Wow. So he was putting in the hours even behind bars.
He was. Yeah. And he attributed his success not just to his copywriting skills, but also to his relentless dedication to research and crafting the perfect offer.
He was a big believer in the power of hard work and perseverance.
Even when things get tough, which they inevitably do.
Did he have any advice for dealing with setbacks?
Oh, he definitely did. He emphasized the importance of being adaptable.
Ready to adjust your approach based on the results you're getting.
Exactly. He told this story about how he initially created a catalog to sell additional products.
To the people who'd bought his family name research report.
Right. But the catalog flopped. People weren't interested.
So what did he do?
He went back to the drawing board. He analyzed the situation and came up with a new strategy
A series of highly targeted sales letters.
that resonated with his audience and generated significant profits.
It's a powerful reminder that failure is often a stepping stone to success.
Absolutely. It's about learning from our mistakes, being willing to pivot, and constantly refining our strategies.
Based on feedback and results?
Exactly. And Gary believed in the power of observation.
Paying attention to subtle cues that reveal people's true desires and motivations.
He told this fascinating anecdote about poker players.
Who watch their opponent's eyes when they draw new cards.
Try and read their poker face.
Right.
But it's more than just reading their facial expressions. It's about watching their pupils.
What do you mean?
Apparently, if their pupils dilate, it means they like the cards they've received. If they constrict, they're not happy with their hand.
So it's an involuntary reaction, a subconscious giveaway that reveals their true feelings.
Exactly. And Gary's point was that these kinds of subtle cues exist everywhere.
If we learn to pay attention.
Right. Whether we're observing people's body language or analyzing their purchasing patterns or simply listening attentively to their words.
There's a wealth of information available to us.
If we know how to look for it.
So it's about becoming a student of human nature.
Developing our powers of observation and using those insights to connect with people on a deeper level.
Which brings us to another key element of Gary's marketing philosophy. The importance of building strong relationships.
He believed in treating people with respect, integrity, and genuine care.
Even in the competitive world of direct marketing.
Especially in the competitive world of direct marketing.
Yeah.
He understood that building a loyal customer base is essential for long-term success.
And he would go above and beyond to ensure his customers were happy.
Offering refunds or replacements if they weren't satisfied with their purchase.
He knew that a satisfied customer is more likely to become a repeat customer.
And spread the word about your products or services.
And he also believed in the power of building a strong network of contacts.
Mentors, collaborators, people who could support his endeavors and provide valuable insights.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know.
It's more about recognizing the value of collaboration and leveraging the strengths of others.
Creating a supportive community that fosters growth and success.
Exactly. And this brings us back to one of Gary's core beliefs. That success isn't just about achieving external goals.
It's about cultivating inner strength and resilience.
And a mindset that embraces challenges as opportunities for growth.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. From the craft of copywriting and storytelling to understanding human psychology.
And the importance of building strong relationships.
It's amazing how much valuable insight Gary packed into these letters.
It is, and we still have more to explore. There's a whole other layer of wisdom in the Boron Letters about navigating life's challenges.
And creating a life that aligns with your values. So, one thing that I found really interesting about these letters was how open Gary was about his struggles.
Yeah, he didn't shy away from the tough stuff, even when writing to his son.
He talks about, dealing with difficult roommates, missing his girlfriend, the emotional toll of being incarcerated.
Like he's sharing his wisdom from the trenches.
Exactly. It makes the advice feel so much more real and relatable.
Like he's not just talking about these things in theory. He's lived them.
And amidst all those challenges, he keeps coming back to this idea of managing your emotions.
Staying level-headed, even when surrounded by chaos.
Right, like that acronym he uses, HLLT.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yeah, don't make any big decisions when you're in one of those states.
It's so simple, but so true.
I know, I've definitely made some bad calls when I was hangry.
Oh yeah, me too.
We all have. And Gary even shared a story about how being off after a fasting day led to some negative encounters with other inmates.
He realized that his emotional state was making him more prone to conflict.
So it's like being aware of those HLLT states is crucial for making good decisions.
Absolutely. Awareness is the first step.
And then maybe finding ways to create some space before reacting.
Like setting reminders or taking a few deep breaths.
Yeah, anything to interrupt that automatic reaction.
And remember what Gary called going underground.
Taking a step back to recharge and strengthen yourself.
It's a powerful strategy for dealing with demanding situations.
I get that taking breaks is important, but it's hard to go underground when you've got deadlines and responsibilities.
Even in prison, Gary found ways to create that mental space. He wrote, he read, he exercised.
Things that helped him stay grounded and focused.
The key is to find what works for you.
It could be spending time in nature or listening to music.
Even just taking a few minutes to sit quietly and breathe.
It's about creating those little rituals that help you reset.
And come back stronger.
Which ties back to taking care of your physical health.
As a foundation for mental and emotional well-being.
And Gary was really big on that. Remember how he talked about keeping his prison cell clean and organized?
It's about creating a sense of order even in the midst of chaos.
And that sense of order can have a ripple effect on your mindset.
Helping you feel more focused and in control.
So it's not just about being neat. It's about creating an environment that supports clear thinking.
And this idea of taking control, even in challenging situations, is huge in the letters.
Like how Gary approached developing marketing campaigns from prison.
He was analyzing ads, brainstorming ideas, even partnering with people outside to fund test mailings.
It's remarkable how he was able to find those opportunities.
Even in that environment,
It goes back to that keep on keeping on mentality.
he was determined to make the most of his situation.
To find ways to grow and learn even behind bars.
And he wanted his son to have that same mindset.
To be prepared, to be alert, to seize opportunities.
Like that story about the inmate preparing for his parole hearing.
Practicing his responses, getting ready to make the most of his chance. It's a reminder that we can't always control our circumstances.
But we can control our preparation.
And our response.
And even when things are tough, we can choose to focus on what we can control.
Rather than getting bogged down by what's outside of our influence.
Gary had that great story about a confrontation with another inmate in the mess hall,
Where he chose to walk away.
knowing that engaging would have had serious consequences.
It's about choosing your battles wisely.
Sometimes the best course of action is to simply disengage.
To maintain your composure and avoid escalating the conflict.
And that applies to so many areas of life.
Work, relationships, stressful situations.
It's about choosing how you respond
Focusing on what you can control.
and taking actions that align with your long-term goals.
So it's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about channeling them in a productive way.
Exactly. Using your energy wisely and focusing on what truly matters.
And what truly mattered to Gary, even in prison, was relationships.
He talked about cherishing his connection with his son.
Expressing gratitude for the people who stood by him.
Even in that environment, he found ways to nurture those connections.
And he encouraged his son to be discerning in his relationships, too.
To drop dead weight.
Those people who drain your energy and hold you back.
It's so important to recognize those relationships.
And to have the courage to let go of them.
And to surround yourself with people who inspire you and support you.
It's about building a network of people who bring out the best in you.
Exactly. And that's what Gary's letters ultimately teach us.
That success isn't just about achieving external goals.
It's about cultivating inner strength and resilience.
And a mindset that embraces challenges.
It's about living with intention, connecting authentically, and creating a life that aligns with your values.
It's amazing how these letters written from a prison cell decades ago still feel so relevant today.
It's because they tap into those timeless truths about human nature.
And the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity.
Gary's story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
we can find ways to grow and learn and create a meaningful life.
And that's a powerful message for all of us.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the Boron Letters.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
And to all of you listening out there, thanks for tuning in.
Keep those letters coming.
And until next time, keep diving deep.